welcome into Attacking Third, presented by CarMax, the way car buying should be, alongside McCall Zerboni, Jen Beattie. I'm Lisa Carlin. We are chatting Ballon d'Or today. It's not the Dior, but we may be giving out some Diors with this one. We may be taking some away. We're chatting all about it. Plus, we're also looking ahead to 2026 early Ballon d'Or predictions, because why not put ourselves on blast? So thank you for joining us. If you're watching us on Galazzo Network, joining us live on YouTube, hey guys, hello, what's up? Let us know your Ballon d'Or predictions for next year in the chat. Of course, if you're listening as a pod, it is always great to have you with us. If you ever get lonely, come on over to YouTube. We have a great time here. So thank you, everyone. Jen, I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. McCall, I just saw you yesterday virtually. But Jen, what is up, my gal? How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm currently in the Bay Area doing 2 games back-to-back at Bay FC. So great, catching up with some friends. It's early here, but there's no better way to start my day with you guys on Attacking Third. So I'm loving your Kansas City shirt, by the way. Let's rep them. Big.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
nice.
I have said on here, I'm trying to wear more of my kits because I have a lot of them.
Yeah.
And after Casey won the Shield this past weekend in the NWSL, plus Temwa Shawinga scored her first header goal, which I gave her a lot of slack for that last year. I am rocking not only a Kansas City kit, but also a Temwa Shawinga kit.
Love it.
So,
okay. You
representing today for our girl Lo, for Temwa, for Casey, for Blacko, all the people.
I did morning footy last week on Friday.
Yeah.
And it was the Champions League women's draw. And I was just like, yes, I get to wear my Arsenal shirt. And then got the text, it's a formal wear today, no shirts. And I was devastated. So I might have to follow your lead, mate, and get some of my kits out, get some footy shirts on here. Why not? I love it.
I feel like jerseys should always win as formality, you know?
Right. Yeah. We're talking about football. Why can't we wear football shirts?
That's what I was thinking about, like how people say not Dior, like Christian Dior. Like they should do like a combo, like how we like catwalk in the NWSL. They should have Christian Dior like be a part of the Ballon d'Or and like outfit them and stuff and like do like a little collab, you know?
Speaking of catwalks, the walk-ins to the Ballon d'Or last night were strong.
Yes.
Strong.
Who was your best dress?
I thought Serena Wiegman looked awesome. Actually, I'm going to rep the coach. There's like a like video of her just walking in. I was like, she looks awesome. I think it was like a red suit,
the monochromatic suit with the scarf. Yeah.
I feel like world footballers are always setting like trends. Like men's with their haircuts, like whatever they're doing with the hair is kind of like what bleeds into the rest of the world. And then like women, like with what they're wearing and like their style, whether it's like oversized baggy or whatever it is, like it's kind of like trend setting.
I did love also that. I think it was Arsenal and everyone was in black. And then I think it was Emily Fox in like bright red. And I was like, love it, mate. Didn't get the memo, but like still looked awesome.
So you play for Arsenal or?
Yeah.
She's like, don't forget about me. I'm the American here at Arsenal winning Champions League. Well, that leads us right into our Ballon d'Or chat and talk. And unfortunately, we're not spending the whole show talking about fits, but maybe we'll do that another time. We're talking about the winners and everything that happened yesterday and came out of the Ballon d'Or, because Aitana Bonmati, the Spanish international, the Barcelona player, won her 3rd consecutive Ballon d'Or, the most of any women's player in history. And there's absolutely no doubt that Aitana Bonmati is an exceptional player, and she has been for years. And there's no shade to Bonmati, but did she have the best year to win the Ballon d'Or? Because to me, that is the conversation. It feels like the voting committee learned Bonmati's name in 2023 and said, hey, she still plays for Barcelona. Let's continue to give it to her because she's still playing and she's still there. That's going to be good enough for the women's game. A talented player, an incredible player for club and country, Jen, but a player that also lost 2 finals in the Euros and the UEFA Women's Champions League.
Yeah, you know what? This is a tough one, and I think there's so many avenues to this conversation, and that's why I love these shows, because we can get into every sort of angle in it. But I think why people were disappointed with this one is because it's almost like a case of, right, what does it take to actually win this now? Because then you're looking at, I was so disappointed. Obviously, I'm an ex-Arsenal, but Alessia Russo scoring in the final, winning the Euro final, winning the Champions League. Mariona Caldente had just left Barcelona, the club that she had all the successes with. the hardest thing to do is go and get success at another club that hadn't necessarily had any, and then goes and wins Player of the Year in the WSL and wins the best thing to win in European football, club football, the Women's Champions League. I don't want to take anything away from these players. I think you don't win something by chance, especially not the Ballon d'Or. I think we still have to credit the best players that can create something out of nothing, and that is Bonmati. She still won Champions League Player of the Season, I think. That goal against Germany, when your back's up against the wall, creates that goal that gets her team to the final. There is no denying that she is an unbelievable player that can do things that other players can't. And I think that's where the votes come from. I think that's why she's won it. But you still have to give credit to the quality in that list that is phenomenal. And that's why it highlights the growth of the game, what these players are achieving at club football, parts of their team. And it's why we can sit here and debate it, because there are so many people on that list. And it's so subjective to the games you've watched, what you've read, so many different things. But I get it.
So do you think Bonmati should have won this?
I predicted Caldente.
Oh.
I wanted Mariona Caldente to win. Okay. That's me putting it out there. I think between Caldente and Russo, I wanted them to be the winners for sure. But I also don't want to take it away from a player who is still, when you watch her and when you've played against her, does things that other players can't, similar to, other top players. So, but no, I'm putting it out there. I wanted Russo or Caldente, and they still finished top 3.
The fact that Alessia Russo did not finish in the top 2 for me was, as soon as that came out, I was mind blown. This is a player that it led her team to a Champions League win with Arsenal and then won the Euros and all the stats that you just mentioned, Jen. And you can say like, okay, what does go into the qualification of this? We know exactly what is supposed to go into the qualification for a Ballon d'Or. The dates, the competitions, and what the 3 categories are that these journalists, the top 50 FIFA nations, and they're a journalist from each of those nations are voting on this. We know exactly what it is. And it is no shade to Bonmati, but there were other players, Caldente, Russo, that had better years in that calendar year based on the criteria. That to me is what is absolutely crazy.
I think winning is important, right? I'm just kind of looking around like, okay, so what is the criteria? Is it that you're an individual baller or that you help your teams win, right? Because she lost in 2 finals this year and she still won the Ballon d'Or. So if it is about winning, well, then Marta helped her team to a shield and a championship and is still one of the best players to ever walk the face of the earth, is still scoring goals, is still performing on the international stage and winning with Brazil, right? When they're in cups and other competitions in their region. So for me, that Marta wasn't even in the top 10. I'm not saying she should have won the Ballon d'Or over Bonmati, but I'm saying she wasn't even considered in the top 10. So I'm like, what is the criteria here? That's what's bothering me about it. Because for me, who wins the Ballon d'Or should be an unstoppable player. Like just no matter the game, no matter the match, whether you're on club level or international level, you should be incredibly hard to stop. That to me is Temwa Chawinga. It doesn't matter where she is playing. She is so incredibly hard to stop for club and for country. And just because she doesn't play for a top 10 country and we don't get to watch her on the regular basis like we do Bonmati, but no, she didn't win with Kansas City last year, but she's still an incredible player. And again, to not be in the top 10 is just beyond me.
I mean, one of the criteria is, though, team achievements, whether it's for club or country. It's finding success within your group. So someone else had talked about, what about Linda Caicedo? What's going to happen there? Temwa Chawinga is another one of those players. If your team for club or country doesn't win any silverware, I think that automatically knocks you down a level. And that's the thing about the Ballon d'Or. It is not the top 2%. It is not the top 5%. It's the top 0.00001% of player. It comes down to the small margins ultimately in the end. And to me, Aitana Bonmati not winning the Champions League with Barcelona and not winning the Euros with Spain takes her out of that conversation of the top.
Me also. I'm sorry to tell you. I just, okay. Also, like for 3 years in a row, Like, she won it last year, won it the year before, but let's get somebody else in there. Like, let's be honest, she did not have her best year. She did not win everything that she could have.
I do think, there's been a lot of conversation though around the voting and how European heavy it is. And I do think that needs to be looked at it. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, there's 100 journalists that vote on the men's side, 50 on the women. Yeah. I'd love to know the sort of where they are from a global perspective and how fair that is across, accommodating all games, all different countries. How diverse is it? Looking across football as a global game, because that's what I think there's a lot of conversations about this being very European heavy, and I agree with that. And I think if you look at the top 10, it's all European players, and I think that definitely needs to be looked at for next year of how we're really making it fair across the game.
Yeah, so then you look at players like Marta and Temwa, they're at a deficit because they don't play for European teams, and it's almost like you have a leg up if you're playing in Europe because that's all that they're watching. I mean, even NWSL players that should have been considered were not given as much credit as well, And like, I was thinking about this too, right? Bonmati, she had 12 goals and 6 assists for Barca this last season, which is great. It's good. She's a great, I'm not denying that. Absolutely. But let me put it this way. The Liga F plays the most matches out of any other season comparable to any other league. More games than the French, more games than here at the NWSL, more than the Bundesliga. They play the most games. So you have the most opportunity to score the most goals.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's not also just about the stats. I think Marta is a really good example of a player that was absolutely given the short stick, considering the Ballon d'Or eligibility window was actually moved specifically to incorporate the Copa America Femenil final, in which Brazil and Marta played against Colombia, where Marta had 3 goals and an assist between the semifinal and the final, which counted towards the Ballon d'Or voting. She won the first and the second trophies ever for Orlando Pride, the Shield and the championship. And to not come in the top 10 says to me that L'Equipe French football is not paying attention to the NWSL, not paying attention to anything outside of Europe. And it's always been mumbled about, like, okay, is this very Eurocentric? What's going to happen to me this year? Says they are not paying attention to anything.
100%. And even in the past, like Marta in her prime was, no doubt about it, the best player in the world, untouchable, has never won a Ballon d'Or. How is that possible? Yeah. You've won World Player of the Year 6 times, FIFA World Player of the Year, but no Ballon d'Or. I'm like,
the math isn't mathing for me on that one.
The math isn't mathing. And the footballing world puts such an emphasis on the Ballon d'Or, which is a French football award. That's where it has generated. And the shortlist is compiled by editorial staff of French football members, of L'Equipe, of UEFA in combination. So it is Eurocentric. If we wanted to make it, Jen, perhaps a little bit more global, try to level the playing field a little bit on the voting. How should we weigh the voting? Who should be involved?
Well, I like the idea of it being journalists because they are the ones that are across absolutely everything. I think I kind of touched on it earlier, and I'd love to know your ideas as well. But I think I personally would love to know where those journalists are situated and what do they comment on throughout the season. And if they are all over the world, even how many are in Europe and how many are in the rest of the world? Is it fair across, size and scale of leagues? I would just want to know more about the voting process. I think that's maybe what I'm trying to say. Because until we know the actual ins and outs, it's hard to kind of comment on how do you make a fair system. But I think, do you then include player votes? Do you then include managerial votes? Because that's how sort of domestic trophies are done within leagues and in domestic seasons. So do you incorporate that? Fan vote? Do you open up to a fan vote? There's so many different ways you can look at it, but right now the Ballon d'Or is journalists. So how would you open it up and make it more fair? For me, it's more a voting pool that involves more global scale.
The first step in doing that is to include 100 journalists that are voting in it, not just 50.
It also just seems like lazy voting. Like there was a huge tournament, the Euros, like massive tournaments. Like, is anybody watching? Like, they're just like, oh, I'm just going to go with the most popular name and like the most trendy name or who like I can think of quickest. Do you know what I mean? Like Bonmati was on the edge of everybody's mouth this summer and has been for this past year. She's a wonderful player, but it's like, don't just refer back to that same player that was playing well. Like, let's really dive into it and think, do they deserve it? This is a massive award. I'm sure there's incredible bonuses that go along with it. Now your price tag as a player goes up. Like, this is an insane, very important award, and you shouldn't just be giving it away cheaply. Mm-hmm. And like, so this is another thing too. I'm like, who nominates the players that are chosen? Right? Like, what's the nomination process? Not necessarily the voting process, right? Because in August, everyone is listed, right?
Yep. So the shortlist was compiled by the editorial staff of France Football, members of the editorial staff of L'Équipe, and then a UEFA ambassador, and then usually the best juror from the last award. That's like typically how the shortlist is compiled for Ballon d'Or. I agree that there's not enough transparency on who is putting these names into the mix. Is there a vetting process, right? You even think about the men's side, how many names are on their short list, and the women's only has 30, and then we only have 50 voters. And yes, Ballon d'Or only included women in this in 2018. Like, this is an incredibly new award, yet we as footballers, as players, as media that covers it, still put a lot of weight in winning the Ballon d'Or. Right? Like, think if an American won this award this year or an NWSL player won the Ballon d'Or, it would be a huge talking point because there is a lot of emphasis on it. Maybe we need to not put so much emphasis on the Ballon d'Or, considering the voting and how they get to this process really isn't that important. And it's not that impressive. And it doesn't seem like they put that much thought into it.
Well, and that could be an issue too. Like, just coming in 2018, like I remember Marta in like 2011. I mean, if the Ballon d'Or was there then, like, she would have got it. But we're late to the party, and there was players that were just honestly playing like women against girls, like back then, like just dominating, like not even close. Like Marta in her prime would whoop Bonmati and Pernille Harbour and everyone else that's won it in the past 4 or 5 years.
I also do think it's probably very Europe. It feels European heavy because there was also a European tournament. It was the Euros, obviously the Copa as well, and there was been comments around that, not enough exposure on that. We have to level that playing field. But then you have to think of Rapinoe winning it in 2019. That was off the back of back-to-back World Cups and her winning it. So when there's a more tournaments, the more sort of conversations there are. But this one more highlights to me the more exposure that needed to be on Brazil and Marta winning Copa, winning player of the tournament, and that not being more of a conversation around this Ballon d'Or for sure.
How much is the NWSL handicapped or at a disadvantage, considering that the voting consists of, or the year of eligibility window consists of just half of an NWSL season, McCall?
Well, let's put it this way. I just don't think the French and the Spanish respect American football yet. It's why a lot of their players don't come play here yet. It's why they're not watching NWSL games and why they're not included in these European votes and competitions for, individual trophies. They don't respect us. They're not paying attention. That's what I'm taking from this, is that I don't think the men on this board that are involved with selecting the nominees and the women are watching NWSL games that much. They're just not, because they don't think it's all that.
Yeah, I probably could have guessed that prior to yesterday and all this announcement of Ballon d'Or, that they're not watching, they're not paying attention. And not even this, but as Jen mentioned, Copa America, WAFCON, they're not paying attention to these, especially when the Euros was happening this summer. But ultimately, that's not, that's the grander scope of this whole thing. The fact that Aitana Bonmati won this award is absolutely bonkers, considering the type of year that Mariona Caldente had, who was her teammate on Spain and was able to go to Arsenal and do it. Even if you say, okay, we are going to focus on Europe only, Alessia Russo, Mariona Caldente. Those to me should have been the top 2 players in the finalists for this award who ultimately win it.
So if it's equatable, like on the men's side, right? Bonmati, she's very similar to Messi. They both grew up in the Barcelona system for a very, very long time. She's only played for Barca. And when you're with the same club for a very long time, you're able to get your flow, find your feet, always have your max performances. You're not challenged in a different way. I'm like, girly, come to the NWSL. Try it out. See what happens, Miss Bonmati. Come challenge yourself here, honestly. Because what happened to Messi when he left Barca? That's when he started getting challenging. And he didn't start scoring as many goals when he went to the French league. And then he came to America, obviously a little bit easier for him. But once he left Barca, he slowed down a little bit because he was challenged in a different way. Mm-hmm. So Bonmati winning this award, yes, she's had good seasons, but she's been at the same club the entire time, which is a very big advantage.
Which is an even stronger point of saying Mariona Caldente should have won it. She went to a new club surrounded by brand new players and ends up winning the Champions League. For the record, no slight against Aitana Bonmati. Exceptional player, exceptional footballer. But did she have the best calendar year? I think other players had it out ahead of her. But that's not the only award, right? There's the Copa, the Yashin, the Gerd Mueller. We're going to talk all about it. Stick with us. More Attacking Third coming up next.
You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. So even if you can't count on accurate expiration dates,
that is a rookie mistake.
Or people appreciating your fashion sense.
Jim, the crowd is not on board here.
You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
Glad we wear our good jerseys.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Attacking Third, presented by CarMax, the way car buying should be. So we chatted the Ballon d'Or winner overall, but there are several other winners that got to take home awards. The Copa Trophy, which is the young player, best under 21 player, was given to Vicky Lopez, the 19-year-old with Barcelona, had an absolutely remarkable season, won the domestic treble, took Spain to the Euro final in this one. Jen, you gave a little clap. Yeah. You were all on board for Vicky Lopez?
Yeah, I was. I think, when talk about Bonmati again, but when she had viral meningitis right before the tournament, there was a huge conversation around, okay, your best player is out, and then who steps up? Vicky Lopez. And it was almost this like seamless transition of how do you fill the boots of a 2-time winner, Ballon d'Or winner at the time, now obviously a third, but I think she it's credit to her at such a young age, even on that European stage, she's still absolutely incredible football player. And I know she's got the best players around her that will bring out the best in her, but I think the way she stepped up on at the Euros on that stage was nothing short of amazing. And she does it week in, week out, and I think she's only going to go on to bigger and better things with Spain, Barcelona, or wherever her career takes her. But yeah, top young player. I love watching her play, and I think that was the biggest thing for me. You've stepped up in replacement of Bonmati and absolutely stormed it. So huge.
One of the players I wanted to win this one was Michelle Agiman, who absolutely burst onto the scene with the Euros and her play last year. I'm okay with Vicky Lopez winning this, considering the stats also that Lopez achieved: 32 appearances for Barcelona, 12 goals, 3 assists, and the actual like minutes that she got with Barcelona was a bit more impactful than Agiman. But I think that was a close one, right? Especially if we compare to the Ballon d'Or. I'm like, okay, Copa, you can give this one to Vicky Lopez. There's a lot of young players that are fun to watch. What about best goalkeeper? Let's talk the Yashin Award. Hannah Hampton. This was all other nominees were Anne-Katrin Berger, Katja Cole, Ndozie, Daphne Van Domselaar. But I think Hannah Hampton was a pretty universal pick, McCall. Would you say that?
I think so, especially considering, the late news that she was going to be the number one and stepped up and, just rose to the occasion. And, there was a lot of swirling doubt. All eyes were on her, right? Because people were so shocked by the news that Mary Earps was going to step down. And it was big shoes for her to fill. And when those are big shoes, usually you can do no right. And she did everything correct. Like, she did not even make one mistake in the Euros. She had a great year at club level as well. She showed what she can do. And, you know, obviously I have to talk about her speech for a little bit as well, you know, just giving love to Matt Beard and his family. He's a very, very lovely man. I had the opportunity to be coached by him, and he really just led with the human first, and he was very, very special. And so that was a big loss. And I have to commend her for the bravery and giving her moment of winning an award to honor a life that we lost in the football world. So it just goes to show, you know, her mentality and her approach to the game and her gratitude, and, you know, how she's gotten to where she has, and that big stage didn't frighten her. And she was ready when she had some big shoes to fill. So I'm happy for her. She deserves that one.
And she's only 24. I think that's important. Still so young, and you're spot on, McCall. I think the way that she had a big signing for Chelsea. That's a huge club to go to win the domestic treble. I think her club career, you know, the best goalkeepers, I always say, when you're playing for a top team, the best goalkeepers pull out an absolute worldly save when you're not playing that well and get you a tie or get you a narrow win. And Hannah Hampton has definitely done that. And I completely agree. The whole narrative around Mary Earps retiring not long before the tournament and stepping up to number one, she hadn't actually solidified that number one jersey until quite close to the tournament. So for her to have grabbed that shirt and, you know, gone to win this so quickly at age 24 is a testament to her quality.
And not having ever played a single cap in a major international tournament.
That's a great point, because, you know, goalkeepers usually don't peak until like later in their career, because it's all about game experience. And she hadn't had any caps or any international experience. And that's what I'm saying. She went out there and she didn't skip a beat. She didn't look like she was 24 years old. She didn't look like she had 0 caps. She just stepped right into the gloves and was rocking it. I mean, she was born to be on that stage, and like, we haven't even seen the best of her yet. I wouldn't be surprised if she has another good year and maybe wins it back-to-back.
Oh, McCall, giving us a little taste of your predictions.
just a little.
It was later in the show, and I'm clocking that, McCall. I love that one. So the next award that they gave out was the Good Mueller Award, which is the best goal scorer. So it's based 100% on stats, who truly found the back of the net the most. And we talk about Eurocentric, what's going to happen. I think that this will consistently go to a European player just because of the amount of competitions they play. There's more chances to score, but this one went to Eva Payor. She had 48 goals for Barcelona, and insane. And she is the first player from Poland to become the inaugural winner of this women's trophy. That's to me a big deal. The fact that she is a Poland international player,
yes,
and a young player also to win this award, but definitely based on stats, but also the first time that this was given to a women's player.
Women's Polish player. Yeah. Like, yeah. I think it is very impressive. You know, the stats don't lie. That's the amount. It's basically like the golden boot, right? The golden boot of all the leagues in the world. But I'm going to go back to my point that I made before. She plays in a league that has the most matches out of every team in the world. So you have more opportunities to score more goals and to get that, you know, golden boot, if it is just about stats and facts, which it is. So I think there is an advantage, you know, playing for Barca and playing in Liga F for her to be that, you know, winning goal scorer.
Yeah, absolutely. So congrats to her. Then we get the best coach, the Johan Cruyff Trophy. And this one was given to also one of the best dressed at the award ceremony, Sarina Wiegman. Other nominees were Sonia Bonpastor, Altor Elias, Justine Magdua, Renee Sledgers. But ultimately it went to the Lionesses' head woman, Sarina Wiegman, Jen, who went up and took on this award and really gave it right back to the players in her speech.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many managers again that could have won this. Like, I'm thinking of Sonia Bonpastor, first season at Chelsea, winning domestic treble, or even, you said it yourself, Renee Slegers having Jonas Eidevall resigning at the start of the season and then winning the Champions League off the end. There are so many ways you could have looked at this one as well, but I think Sarina Wiegman, the way I love listening to her speak at press conferences, I think, you know, it's the cliche in England that when Sarina speaks, everyone listens, and it's so true. She's just seems so personable, and like she's grown to become, and rightly so, one of the best managers in the game. Full stop. And I think the year that she had, especially there was a lot of doubt and pressure on the Lionesses going into that tournament, with Spain being the favourites after winning the World Cup. So to do it in the way she did, with them not necessarily playing the best football, but just getting it over the line. And I think that's what the best managers do tactically. The Chloe Kelly's off the bench, the Michelle Adjumans off the bench, those big decisions. Michelle Adjuman, one of the most inexperienced players, almost like the wild card coming into it. And the performances she did, that's what the best managers do. They bring out the best in players. So, and she was the best dressed. She looked awesome. So I'll go again. When she walked in, she looked great. So thoroughly deserved. No notes on that one other than positive notes.
I also would say that she's an icon. Like, people would recognize her face. Like, whether, she's in an airport all over the world, people would be like, oh, I know that woman. She's a very successful women's football coach. You know what I mean? Like, she has just made herself an icon because she has had consistent presence on the world stage and performance, and just her stature, like the way she carries herself, like her body language is like, she's an intense person, but you can tell that she has like a lot of knowledge locked up in there, and she can meet you where she's at with it. And that's what you need to have as a manager. You need to know how to manage your players and have a lot of character in your brain to meet a lot of different personalities, but also be like stoic in the moment all the time. So
of all my friends that have played with her as well, says she's really funny. So then, like, I love when she brings in like the Burna Boy comments in her. Because she is quite a serious, puts on such a serious, and most managers do. So I love it when they get a bit of comedy in there. And the Burna Boy, I love it.
When they show a little bit of their personality. I mean, even referencing it in her acceptance speech, the Euros win and the Burna Boy. It's so interesting though, like, hindsight is 2020, and knowing that England ends up winning their second consecutive Euros tournament, when during the tournament there was a lot of chitter chatter about Serena Vigman, her sub rotation. Why isn't she bringing on players earlier? What's happening? And there's almost a sense of like, trust the process, trust this manager that has won not only the Euros before with this nation, but also with the Netherlands, been to World Cups, and all the success that Serena Vigman has achieved. And now to be able to win this award is a great shout. No other nominees from the NWSL, though. I think Seb Hines should have been nominated to win the double, to take a team from one of the worst clubs in the NWSL that no one wants
should have been nominated.
To be nominated, McCall. To be nominated.
Like, just recognize him. That's all. Not saying he needs to win.
I don't think he should have won, but I think Seb Hines for Orlando Pride should have been nominated.
But I will say this. I think it's easier for a club coach to win when there's not a world tournament year, because, global stage tournaments seem larger than just winning on the club level. Like when there's a Euros, when there's a World Cup, when there's an Olympics. So that's always going to outshine the club coaches. But like in this next coming year, right, when this is the year that like a Vlaco should be considered. Look at what he's done with this Kansas City team. And not only that, what's most impressive to me is that he was a club coach, had a lot of success with Kansas City in the early years, 2013, 14, 15 as well, won some championships there and some shields. Then he's doing so well that he goes to be the national team coach, right? Has success there, not as much as everyone would like, and then comes back to club and is still able to translate again with pretty much a brand new team and is now finding success again. To me, that is a coach, no matter the age, the stage, the players you have, if you're able to find success, how is that man not considered to be one of the best coaches in the world and to win the Ballon d'Or?
I don't think last year. I think next year, Vodko could be more in the conversation.
Yes. But even then, Kansas City had a good year last year, you guys. Like, I know it's not as good as this year.
They didn't win anything, McCall. They didn't win anything.
No.
And even like his tenure, Vlaco's tenure with the U.S. women's national team, that was not deemed successful in anyone's eyes.
No, compared to Jill, no.
I think the way that the dates are working, he's definitely in the next year conversation based on the way the dates.
Yeah. Well, if we know anything, we know that it's not consistent and it doesn't always make sense, these winners and these awards. But Team of the Year was given to Arsenal, who won the Women's Champions League. And Jen, I want to toss this one to you first, because a great year for Arsenal. But isn't it a little interesting that Arsenal wins Team of the Year, but they don't win any of the other awards on the list?
No, I think it makes total sense. No, I'm joking.
Flavor.
Yeah, I think this might be probably the most, a lot of people might think this is the most controversial one. I think, look, what Arsenal did was nothing short of amazing, and we touched on it earlier. Having such a poor start in the WSL to then flip that and go and win the biggest thing you can win in European club football was amazing. I do think there will be obviously multiple people who are disappointed with Chelsea not winning the domestic treble, going unbeatable. That to me is incredible. That's consistency. But I think the surprise of what Arsenal did at European stage by knocking out Lyon, 8-time winners, then beating Barcelona, back-to-back winners most recently, that is the best thing you can do in European football. And this is a European Ballon d'Or competition.
Don't you think Chelsea would have done that also if they had to play Lyon?
In the semi?
Yeah.
And then beat Barcelona in the final?
Yeah. Like, I think
that's all ifs, though, no? That's all ifs.
So you think Arsenal got it because they were like the most surprising? Because I think their roster was strong as heck. Like, I'm not surprised how well they did.
I'm meaning the surprise is they won nothing domestically to then go and win European. That shocked people. But I think their roster is absolutely stacked and incredible players, and Mariona Caldente absolutely took them to the next level. It is weird that, of course, you don't have a Ballon d'Or winner within that team or a top goal scorer, but again, that's when you compare the leagues. Yeah.
Right? Like, they didn't win any other awards. Arsenal, this is the only one they won. Which, to win a team of the year and only win the Champions League. I mean, I say that pretty lightly because, the Champions League is huge. But to not have any other players that win the Ballon d'Or, the Copa, the Coach of the Year, goalkeeper, right? To me, that is very peculiar. And I like that Arsenal won this award because I do think that what they did last year was tremendous. But, I mean, going undefeated for Chelsea and winning the domestic treble, that's kind of crazy too, Jen.
No, absolutely. I said it already. There's so many teams who could have got other nominees were, Orlando Pride, Lyon, Barcelona. There were other teams that had done huge things domestically. But what Arsenal did from start to finish in their season to then go and win the best thing to win in European football. This is where it's so interesting because then you bring in international teams and talk about it in that sense, like Lionesses winning back-to-back Euros. So I'm going to leave the floor to you guys. What do you think?
I think it would make sense to bring in international teams and give it to England and give it to the Lionesses. Because if you're looking at it that way, couldn't you also say that Renee Sledgers should have won Manager of the Year over Serena Vigman, considering the feat that she did with Arsenal?
I mean, okay, so it's a little tricky because you have to figure out where to swap the players. But like, if Arsenal was playing England, who would win?
And you just have double of the players.
Yeah, playing against yourself. Like,
I think England would win.
Yeah, England. I think
England would win.
Yeah,
that's a fun one, McCall.
What about Chelsea? What about Chelsea?
Chelsea against the Lionesses?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think Chelsea would win.
So does that make them your team of the year?
I think so. I mean, how could they not be? Look at everything that they won. And
I really do get it. From the domestic treble, where they fell short was the Champions League. That 8-2 beating in the semi-final is what people will look at to compete on a European. That's why I can't wait to watch them.
Bad beating.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's where people would have marked them down in terms of team of the year. But what they did domestically was incredible, especially with a new manager coming into the league first time.
You had injuries to your superstar players?
Yeah.
Like, you were constantly being beaten, battered, and bruised to the injuries?
This is where segment 3 comes in with predictions for next year.
Oh, we call that a tease in the biz. I love it, Jen. Let us know, guys, if you could see an international team win a Ballon d'Or for Team of the Year, would you want that? and who would have won it for 2025 season? Let us know in the YouTube comments. All right, guys, we're taking a quick break, and then we're doing our 2026 Ballon d'Or predictions. Stick with us. You're going to want to get these receipts down. Hey, welcome back to Attacking Third, presented by CarMax, the way car buying should be. So we just wrapped up our 2025 Ballon d'Or chitter chatter. So let's do predictions for 2026 Ballon d'Or. Way too early. So this is taking into account qualifications from August 2025 until July 2026. Give or take a couple weeks or so. The trophies that are eligible to be won, there are no major international tournaments during this span, so it is only domestic leagues, WSL, NWSL, Bundesliga, Liga F, and then, of course, the UEFA Women's Champions League. That is our qualifications for this one. Jen, I'm going to start with you.
Oh,
The creme de la creme, the Ballon d'Or. Who wins it next year?
oh my gosh, I'm so nervous for this question. The prediction is so difficult when the season is only barely started in Europe and we're now accommodating the second half. But the club focus is what I find the most interesting part of this conversation for next year's Ballon d'Or. You've put me on the spot, and this was a headache. I'm really intrigued. I want to. There's so many names. Can I name, like, Chawinga has to be further up for me. This season, she's been phenomenal. Like, McCall touched on it earlier. Sometimes she's undefendable. I don't know if that's a word, but that's what has to be up there with when you're talking about Bonmati and other players that are so difficult to play against. Chawinga in this league has been unplayable sometimes. And she scored with her head at the weekend, which she's added that to her game as well. But no, I'm so intrigued to see how Sam Kerr comes back from injury, because she spent a lot of time off the pitch. Aggie Beaver-Jones is another one who's scoring goals for fun already in the WSL. When we talk about club football, I've been saying this a lot in this past few weeks when I saw the list come out, but Kim Little didn't even make the list and is one of the best club players. She retired from Scotland a number of years ago, but she has to be further up there. I'm not saying she would win it, but she has to be on the list next year if international tournaments aren't a thing. My winner, Mariona Caldente, has to win next year for me. Yeah.
Okay, knowing what Mariona Caldente did this year.
Yeah.
Winning the Women's Champions League, going to a Euros final with Spain. What does she have to do to actually win the Ballon d'Or next year in the eyes of the voters?
I think pick up a domestic trophy with Arsenal. Compete again for best player of the league, because that's what she won. And I think she will be up there again. There's going to be so much competitiveness around Chelsea and what they do this year, and Man City, and so many top players in that league. But she definitely took the league by storm this year with what she did. So I think pick up a domestic trophy, at least player of the year, be up there with goals and assists as well. There's all the stats you can think of. She has to be up there, but it's the moments of brilliance, I think, that we see with the likes of Temwa Chawinga, Marta, Bonmati, the things that players do that other players can't. That's what Mariona Caldente has to do again, and I've no doubt she will. I think she's an unbelievable player, and what she did for Arsenal this season was amazing last season.
I think the key word that you just said there, Jen, is she has to do it again.
Yeah.
And to me, to be able, I think for Mariona Caldente, this can either go one of two ways for her. She can either be pissed off, rightfully so, that she didn't win this award and be even better, or she can almost say, I don't care about this Ballon d'Or because I don't want to be involved. Like, that doesn't matter to me. And we see the same level of output or even less than, because to compete at that high of a level for Mariona Caldente back-to-back years is incredible. Seeing how the voting worked out for the Ballon d'Or this year, Mariona Caldente has to win the WSL with Arsenal and has to win Champions League again in order to win this award, which I don't think is fair by any means, but based on the qualifications and everything that has happened, to me, that's what would have to happen for her to win it. I like the shout, though. That's a good one. I think Temwa Chawinga being at the top of this list is a good one. I am going with maybe this is like my subconscious being biased, knowing that it's going to be a Eurocentric player, knowing that it's probably going to come from someone that scores a lot of goals and is impactful on a team that just consistently wins the domestic treble. I'm going with Claudia Pina, though, because this player, through just a short start of a season with Barcelona, has 6 goals through 4 matches and has been undeniable in her influence in the game. And I like what's going to happen. I think that Barcelona is also going to contend for Champions League. And I think it's going to be Chelsea-Barcelona in the end. And I think that Barcelona is going to win it. And a lot of that weight is going to fall on the shoulders of Claudia Pina.
Good shot. I think she's going to slow down, though. Because now she's that player, like on match day -1, that the opposition is like circling her on the board. And then once everyone is gunning for you, it's so hard to add another layer, another level to now that everyone has their eyes on you, or you're the one that they're trying to stop, or their whole game plan is about stifling, what you can do. But my Ballon d'Or next year, in all my hopeful ways, but I genuinely think this, Temwa Chawinga. And here's why. They're going to win the Shield and the championship this year. She's also going to win the Golden Boot. They're also going to win the Challenge Cup at the beginning of next year. And then the next major tournament, there isn't one for this next coming calendar year in the summer. It's just CONCACAF qualifiers. And I don't see any players on those CONCACAF teams that are going to challenge Temwa Chawinga and have an outstanding performance that's going to consider them for a Ballon d'Or. So if we are considering domestic domination, which she dominates on the pitch, she dominates all the awards and trophies that she can get individually and collectively as a team, Temwa Chawinga is the answer.
She has to win the Shield, she has to win the championship, and she has to win back-to-back Golden Boots, meaning she won it last year and she has to win it this year.
Yes.
I also think she has to win the Challenge Cup next year, McCall. Those are the trophies.
That's the only way the eyes are going to get on the NWSL and start taking someone who is unstoppable like that into consideration to beat this Eurocentric heavy voting.
That is a very realistic shout.
Come on, baby. Plus, she's so wonderful. She deserves it. She's so humble. You know what?
That's not how these awards are taken out, my gal.
No, but you know what I love is she's done about her game as well. Like, I don't think people get enough credit for assists. Like, this is exactly what I was saying earlier. When people start paying attention to a player and they try to stifle everything that they're doing, a major thing that they need to do is learn how to dish the ball and assist. And she has added that element to her game. So now she's drawing in players, which frees up her teammates and is providing them goals with her assists. So again, she's just unstoppable. She keeps adding new elements and new layers.
Well, these are way too early predictions, McCall, but if that happens, I think I would like to do something celebratory for Temwa Chawinga.
Wearing that jersey.
That would be freaking cool. I'm already wearing it. I'm going to do it all the time. Okay, so those are our picks for Ballon d'Or. What about the Copa Trophy, the best under 21 player? You ready, Jen? You look like you're ready for this one. Not quite as stressful as the Ballon d'Or.
No, I had a name straight away, Lily Johannes. I think.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she's made a big move to Lyon this summer. And I think that's, she already, look, for me, 11 caps, is it, for the national team? Correct me if I'm wrong, that might be 1 or 2 off. But I think even in those small moments of times, she's been so impressive for me. And I think everyone was waiting for a big European club or a team out here to bring her in. And I think Lyon had a tough year last year, getting knocked out in the semis, and I think they wanted to go one step further. So everyone was looking at what top signing can they bring. And Lily Johannes for me is it 7 caps? It's 7 caps. Mm-hmm. So not quite 11.
Even more impressive.
7 caps on a national team stage. And I think there's no better manager to have than Emma Hayes than from an international standpoint. And Lyon, they're 8-time winners of the European Champions League. Mm-hmm. I love the way she plays. I think she's so technical. Her vision, her tactical experience for such a young age. I think she's going to go on and have a very, very impressive season. So she's my prediction for next year. I love
at
watching
18
her
years
play.
old. At
Yeah.
18 years old, I think this is a
Exactly.
player that the move to Lyon is going to be a slow burn, and we will see the fruits of the labor of playing at Lyon and in Champions League, competing for Champions League, competing at the top of the French domestic league. I also had Lily Johannes as my pick. I like that shout. I want to give an honorable mention to Olivia Smith, though, the young player in the WSL who made a transfer in this offseason that I actually think is going to benefit her so much more than people realize, and her ability to contribute on the pitch domestically, or internationally, though. That's where I think, to me, Olivia Smith won't necessarily win this award just based on what's happening with Canada.
I think that's a great call. I think she's the pressure that comes with that price tag when you make that kind of move again, such a young age. There's no big international this season, but the way she's been performing for Arsenal already, the goal she scored at the Emirates against London City Lionesses was just every dream start that a kid can have when they sign at that price tag. You're automatically looking for the quality. So for her to have brought that on this early on, she looks awesome so far, and a big signing for Arsenal. And she's gonna do some things. So I like that call.
I have a little bit of an honorable mention, because I don't think she's going to win it, but she is in consideration, which some people don't realize sometimes, is Alyssa Thompson. She's still only 20 years old. I think she'll just struggle a little bit at the beginning at Chelsea. Her transition is going to take some time. I think she is going to break out eventually, but possibly a little too late, because I think she's going to have a little bit of a difficult transition. So it's just crazy to think that Alyssa could be that. But my vote is Vicky Lopez back-to-back.
Vicky Lopez back-to-back.
Yes. And here's why, okay? In the Spanish league, how you're going to win an award like that is grabbing eyes, and grabbing eyes is scoring goals. And they win games like 10-0 sometimes, right? And she's a goal scorer. She's unpredictable. She's saucy. She's flary. But what I love about her, for how young she is as well, she's quite refined and sophisticated. Positionally and tactically, she's actually advanced football, and she's a football thinker. She's not just raw talent that's fast, sharp, quick. She actually does. You can see her wheels turning, and she actually does have a brain out there looking to how to exploit back lines. And so we haven't seen the best of her yet either. I think she's going to be even better this season and work out more ways in her arsenal to break down defenders. So I think she's going to have another good year, and back-to-back, baby.
Back-to-back for the 19-year-old.
I think grabbing eyes was a phrase I want to take forward from what you just said, because that's what Michelle Adjuman did at the Euros. But, being at Brighton, do you do that on that
She's alone. She's alone.
Yeah. So I'll be intrigued. This is what's so fun about predictions, because none of us know. And if she does that, then wow, because you're not going to have the kind of players that you do at Barcelona. No disrespect to Brighton, but obviously you're not going to have as many opportunities.
Absolutely. And you don't have as many opportunities. Michelle Adjuman would have to contend for the Golden Boot, in my eyes.
And also she strikes me as a player that has chunks of goodness, but hot and cold. She had a good moment in the Euros, right? Used her time wisely, but I don't think she's gonna be on a consistent trajectory of performance. I think she'll have some good months, some bad months, some good months.
I disagree with that, McCall. I disagree with that because of the loan for Michelle Adjuman. I think if she was still at Arsenal, right? That's her main club. If she was at Arsenal, I don't think she would get as much playing time. I think there would be a really big spotlight on her. I think there would be a lot of pressure on Adjuman
But she's playing against Arsenal and Chelsea and all those teams that are incredibly hard to score on by herself.
But that's what's going to challenge Michelle Adjuman, and that is what's going to allow her to take on a little bit more of a leadership role on a team that there's not that much pressure on. They're not expected to win.
So then it's going to be an Alyssa Thompson situation all over. All the heaviness is on her. She's too young to handle it. She doesn't have any help around her, not reaching her potential.
Not at all, because Angel City and Alyssa Thompson, or with the US and Alyssa Thompson, every team that they were on were like, we're going to win the league. We're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to win gold. We're going to win the World Cup. At Brighton, it's like, hey, let's not get relegated. Let's get to at the top. Let's break that top.
But isn't that Angel City as well?
No, Angel City wanted to contend for the title.
So does Brighton. I mean, why would you bring an expensive big player like that?
No, Brighton doesn't want to contend for the title yet. They can't.
I would hope everyone does, but
well, they want to, and they're going to tell you they want to, but they're trying to break into that top 4. Right?
Yeah, Champions League.
They're trying to not have the 5th spot curse again, where they finished 5th last year and then they drop all the way to the bottom of the table. They want to stay between 6 and 4. They can break into that top 4. That is a very successful year for Brighton, and I think Michelle Ajiman can take Brighton there this season.
I just think very rarely do young players not need help around them. They always need a veteran supporting cast, or at least like experienced quality players around them to be their best.
Yeah, I mean the argument against, but then
same thing.
Yeah, Olivia Smith did it.
Okay.
She didn't really. I mean, Taylor Hines, captain, then had an incredible game against Arsenal, and then you get a big move. That's kind of not necessarily a young raw talent age when you can stand out, I think, and then that's why you have the progression. Olivia Smith would be my argument for that one.
Yeah. Michelle Ajiman, I'm riding with you. She's my ride or die this year.
I know. I was laughing at the chat. There was like up the seagulls from our producer, and I was like having a little giggle on the side. I agree. Up the seagulls.
Well, the only way that you can stop Michelle Ajiman from scoring all those goals is to be an incredible goalkeeper. So, all right, McCall, who is going to win the Yashin Award, the best goalkeeper in 2026? McCall, I'm going to start with you.
I want to say PJT, but it's so hopeful. It's a good
hope, though.
The reason I like it is because I think she's going to be really big for us, on the national team stage. She's going to show what she can do. She's going to become our number 1. And so then that's when she's going to grab the eyes. She's going to have a good season with Man United. And I think she should be in the consideration. I think she is on the way up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really tough Champions League draw.
Yeah, that's what's going to make her shine even more.
Yeah, no, this is all ifs again. Predictions are so fun, but they have a very tough Champions League. I think they play. Hang on, I'm going to bring it up now. Man United have Lyon, Wolfsburg, PSG, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Valerenga. Like they are.
And when she's just saving all the spots, she's going to shine.
It's a good shout, McCall. If she can get through that gauntlet of Champions League play and continue up her domestic play as well with Manchester United, I think it's a good shout for Fallon Tellus-Joyce.
Totally. I think at the end of the day, if you're going to win this, you have to come up against those teams and do well anyway. That's what the best goalkeepers do. But I am still saying, if I may, maybe Hannah Hampton back to back.
I think Hannah Hampton too. Back to back.
Really?
I just think she's 24. We haven't even seen her peak. I think she has one of the best technical abilities in the game. I would still love to throw Lorena into that conversation, what she's done this season, and will continue to do.
Yeah.
There's some.
Why do I feel like Hannah's going to get injured?
Oh, McCall.
I know. I have a weird, bad feeling.
Wow.
What makes you say that? If I can.
Like sometimes it's just part of people's stories that's going to make them stronger and better in the long run. Like when you're at your best and it's taken away from you, and then you like claw it back, and then it's like it is the foundation of your story. And I think that will really like just set her off when she returns. And I don't mean like out for an entire year, but I think she's going to miss a decent amount of matches this season at some point.
I think Chelsea are really going to contend for a Champions League title this year. I think that is something that they have their eyes on. For me, like big picture, Arsenal wants to win the WSL more than anything. And for Chelsea, they want to win the Champions League. And if they do that, and Hannah Hampton is the superstar making penalty saves, and I think towards the end of the Champions League run for Chelsea, a lot of that weight is going to fall on a healthy Hannah Hampton, and she could win back to back, because of how young she is and because of I think also the evolution of her game and how much more we could see from her this year. Absolutely. But going off of that, if Chelsea, this is kind of how I thought about it. Who's going to win? What's going to happen in 2026? Yeah. And with the Gerd Muller Award, which is stats only, best goalkeeper, it is, to me, Aggie Beaver-Jones is going to contend for this.
I love the same.
I have the
same. No way.
She's been scoring goals for fun already. And she didn't get the game time. The thing is with Chelsea, they rotate a lot. That's my only. So it's who's gonna like really be the front runner in terms of numbers, because we all know this is on stats. This is who scores the most.
And it is hard for a Chelsea player to win that because of how much they share goals.
Right. So that's my only thing. But and especially with Sam Kerr getting back fit, how much game time are you gonna have? It's gonna be shared. But she has been looking great so far, and she was mine as well. Like it's too straightforward to say Eva Payer as well, because just purely on stats and numbers and games and how the like gap that they win by Barcelona is always big. So this is it's not a subjective one; it's purely on stats.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Sam Kerr is going to get 90-minute fit soon?
She will at some point, yeah. I think, what did she play the other day? 13 minutes. I thought that was a good amount of time for her first appearance. To score,
coming back. Goal.
To score.
I think it was 16 minutes, and she scored a goal.
That's what I'm thinking. Like she might just be like, that might not be her narrative this year to be a 90-minute player. Like, come on at 45 or the last 30 and just be that explosive, like sophisticated goal scorer.
Yeah, I still think a fully fit Sam Kerr, you have her on the pitch for 90 minutes. It'll just be like she's already shown her quality. I don't think she wants to be a sub player coming off and impacting in that way.
I also think a good number 9 in the women's game is like very rare, and she is the epitome of a number 9.
Out and out number 9. I totally agree.
Man, out and outright, just the best.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so we're leaning on Aggie Beaver-Jones. Honorable mention shout for Sam Kerr on that one. What about the best coach, the Johan Cruyff Trophy, McCall? Who is your best coach for 2026?
Vlaco. It's about time.
If he wins the championship, he's already won the Shield.
Yep, championship. The Challenge Cup, if you want to count it. Developing all these players. Like he'll get more players called into the national team.
I love that shout. If Temwa Shawinga and Vlatko Ananovsky take home 2 Kansas City NWSL
America.
I'll buy you a cocktail, McCall. We'll go out. I'll buy you a cocktail.
Thanks.
What are you thinking, Lise?
I think because Chelsea is going to try to win the Champions League, they could do it. Sonia Bonpastor is going to revitalize this Chelsea team playing better football. We're already seeing better football in these first couple of weeks than we saw all of last year. I think the addition of Ellie Carpenter, the tactical flexibility that Bonpastor has brought to this Chelsea side, with Alyssa Thompson, Sam Kerr getting back, Aggie Beaver-Jones getting the best out of all of these players is going to be really key for Bonpastor. And there's a lot of weight on Champions League, and that is what Chelsea wants. So it's all contingent on who wins what, of course. But I'm going Sonia Bonpastor, Jen.
I like that shout. I think for her to, do what she did last season in her first year in WSL, and I've been saying this for years now. I couldn't wait for someone, a female coach, to come into the women's game full stop, and who's been there, done it, won everything there is to win, and have an impact on the sort of next generation of players. And she's come in and absolutely smashed it. So I like that call. I like that shout. And Chelsea are going for a Champions League, let's be honest. And if they win it, she's going to be well up there. My shout was Jonathan Heraldez. Obviously, NWSL moved over to Olympique Lyon this year. And I just think he knows the European game so well. He's been there, done it with Barcelona. Top coach. And I'm excited to see what he does, because they couldn't. Obviously, they fell at the semi-final hurdle last year. 8-time winners already. He needs to take this team. He needs to take them through this transition. I think that's a hard job. So if he does it well, he's going to be up there.
He's got to get the best out of Lily Johannes. He's got to win Champions League. He has to win Champions League with Lyon. Bring them back to their glory.
Yeah.
That's a good shout. Okay, so that leads us to go ahead, Jen.
No, and just manage like top, like really experienced players. You got Lily Johannes coming in, and then Wendy Renard, like top.
Lindsay Heaps, you gotta
all the experience. That's a tough job. So
absolutely a tough job. Hey, but you're backed by some Michelle Moneybucks Kang money, so you can do it, Jonah Heraldez. That leads us to our team of the year. Jen, you want to go with this one first?
If Chelsea win the Champions League, they're down team of the year for sure. I think they have to. Again, this is all ifs and buts. Why predictions are so fun, but they've started so well in the WSL, and I think a fully fit Naomi Girma. We haven't even spoken about her in this conversation, but she had a tough time off the back of last season with her calf injury. Mm-hmm. Didn't get the game time. Well, big move. Millie Brights looked great off the back of her summer, difficult summer. I think if Chelsea go on to win Champions League, they're team of the year for me.
If Chelsea win Champions League, team of the year. Sonia Bonpastor is my coach if they win Champions League.
Wow, we've gone heavy Chelsea today. We have like Hannah Hampton. Yeah. It's all ifs. It's predictions.
I mean, I wish the team of the year award was like who surprised the most. Like,
let me guess, she's going Kansas City.
No, I wish it was like almost the underdog who overperformed and like really stormed on the scene that year. Like not who won the most stuff. Well, apparently it's not who won the most stuff because look at who won the award. But like to me, I think that the London Lioness are going to have a breakout year. They're going to perform really well. They're going to be fun to watch. They're going to be like the new team on the scene that should win like newcomer team of the year. That's what I think the award should be. Unfortunately, I'm emotional.
That's a newcomer team.
Yes, the most fun team to watch. But realistically, I think it's going to be Chelsea. I do.
I think London City, what they're doing as a club, and I think the players that they signed, they got everyone talking. I think they've had a really difficult start. They've conceded a lot of goals. They did eventually get their first win, but they had a really tough start in the WSL. That would be a huge, huge achievement.
I think it's just going to take time for London City Lionesses to establish themselves in the WSL as a top contender. And I don't think you win team of the year unless you win league.
No, you can't.
Right, exactly.
I think it's interesting that we don't talk about French teams anymore. Like 5 years ago, PSG and Lyon, like that's where all our Americans were leaving to go play. Like this is a whole nother segment for a whole nother show. But like, no, we didn't pick a French team for any of these like awards or mentions.
No, it's very interesting.
They gotta pick that league up, bro.
Yeah, Jen did pick Heraldez for Lyon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's because Barcelona have dominated, that's why. But they were 8-time winners, but Barcelona have dominated.
Barcelona didn't get a shout in this either.
Yeah, Eva Payor though, if they
Pina. I did Pina.
Yeah.
I know. I think there's also a shout for, I was thinking about this while you guys were talking, Esther, considering she was Golden Boot at the Euros, Golden Boot at the NWSL, CONCACAF W Champions Cup. Like, I think there is a shout for her to be in contention for maybe a Ballon d'Or, like top finalist next year, depending on kind of what happens with Gotham.
I agree, but for some reason she always gets the shaft and she gets slept on, no matter how great she does.
I know. It's
blessings, Esther. We see you, babe.
We wish we could change a lot of things, but this was fun, guys. We got to hopefully let out some of our anger and upset at the voting of the Ballon d'Or throughout this episode. So thanks everyone for being part of our therapy session today, because man, it was fun to talk about some of these things. And of course, to give our predictions. I hope you guys had a good time. Jen, McCall, did you have a ball?
I had a great time. It's always great.
Guys, you're the best. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, to hanging with us on YouTube, watching on Golazo Network. We so appreciate you. We will be back on Thursday, NWSL playoff. The push is happening. Kansas City won the Shield. What happens next with it? There's going to be a whole preview, 11 a.m. Eastern, live on YouTube. So thanks for hanging with us. For Jen, McCall, Courtney, Phil, Des, I'm Lisa. This was Attacking Third.